everybody, welcome back to Let's Play Katawa Shoujo Part 22. And today we continue our chat with Hanako at the cafe. Let's press on. Even if she's calmer than before though, she's still fidgeting a bit. She runs her hand down one of her bangs as I try to think of something to say. That's right, I was going to ask. Hanako tilts her head quizzically. I didn't know you had a mobile phone. How'd you get my number?
Lily gave it to me.
I should have guessed. You know, you could have just asked. I'd have given it to you. Want to exchange email addresses? Hanako nods, setting down her drink and fishing out her phone from her pocket as I do the same. It's, surprisingly, the same model as mine. Pink, though. Nice phone. She looks to me with a curious expression before noticing my phone and giggling. It's one of the very few times I've seen Hanako let her guard down enough to do such a thing.
I didn't pick it out myself, though.
Oh?
It was a present from Lily. I never really needed a phone and I couldn't afford one. She bought me one for Christmas, though, saying that we could use it to keep in touch.
They see each other basically every day anyway, both in and out of school. Then again, Lily does have her class representative duties and other friends that she talks with. It'd probably help for situations like this too, when she's gone away for a while. Lily's a very special person to you, isn't she?
She is. I love her very much.
Hanako looks down and smiles as she thinks of her. None of my friendships were as deep as theirs, and I have to admit to myself that I'm a little jealous of their relationship. We tell each other our email addresses and thumb them into our respective phones, and I get Hanako's number from earlier and put it into my contacts list.
Done. That makes 3 now.
3?
Lily, Akira, and you.
Ah, Akira. She's an interesting person, isn't she?
She is. She's also really nice, though. Her suit makes her look a bit cool.
I'm a little surprised you know each other well, what with her job taking up so much of her time. Hanako looks down a little and takes another sip of her drink. If I wasn't looking intently at her face, I'd miss the small smile perched on it. I guess when she knows so few people, those she knows must mean a lot to her.
How many do you have?
Me? About 9 or 10. I hesitate to go into them for fear of rubbing in the fact that Hanako doesn't have parents or apparently even close relatives. 2 of those are Shizune and Misha, too, which is another can of worms. I imagine that Lily would have more than both of us put together, probably. Hanako gives a childish giggle and I can't help smiling. It's a good feeling that she's gotten this comfortable around me. At times like this, I feel like I'm getting close to talking to her true self. Do you mind if I ask something that I've been wondering? Hanako shakes her head as she takes a last sip of her tea, finishing it off. You don't seem very jealous of Lily having lots of friends. Don't you want to make some more friends yourself, or get to know some of hers?
I'm not jealous. I don't like people, so I don't mind not having many friends.
That's really not the answer that I was expecting. She doesn't look fearful or sad as she says this, but rather quite serious. Hanako rubs her arm awkwardly, having taken my quietness as a reason to continue. I'm not really sure what I should say, so I end up simply giving her my attention in silence.
In middle school, I got bullied a lot. I was called names and got excluded from work groups and sports teams. There were worse things, too.
And that's what made you not like other people? She shakes her head. She shakes her head. God. Tongue twister.
That was elementary school.
I feel bad for bringing this up now. Adults have enough problems dealing with Hanako's scarring. Children would be all the worse. I had assumed that the way she tried to make her presence not felt was just to avoid people staring at her, or because she was afraid of them. Certainly not because she genuinely didn't want to interact with them in the first place as well. I noticed the condensation from my neglected smoothie forming a little puddle around the bottom of the cup, so I take the opportunity to finish it off. As I drink, she begins to fiddle with her phone. It looks like she's remembered the people around her again and begun to tense up. It isn't exactly a cheap phone. I had to save up for quite a while to afford one when I got mine. If Lily went to a private school, she probably wouldn't have too much trouble getting one for a present, though. Watching her fiddle with it gives me an idea. Hey, Hanako, wait for me. I'll be right back. I put the now empty cup down, slip my phone into my pocket, and begin to move off, carefully stepping around the bag I'd placed beside my feet. Thankfully, sitting around while talking to Hanako has helped me feel a lot better than before.
Wait, well, what? Well, where are you going?
Just stay here. I'll be back in a bit. As much as I'd have liked to have jogged back, I know full well that I couldn't. I end up walking back to the cafe, a little blue bag in my right hand. Hanako notices me quickly, looking about as confused as she did when I left. I deposit the diminutive bag in front of her and sit back down.
Is this...
It's for you. You could open it.
But...
Go on. She looks very unsure about it, but eventually gives in, slowly opens the bag and picks its contents out. A silver chain foam strap dangles from her fingers, ending in a delicate flower. It isn't exactly a masterwork of jewelry, but it's about as much as I can afford. Hanako's eyes light up when she looks at it. It's the kind of reaction I was hoping for. The summer sun's light glints off the silver as it twists to and fro a little. It's not too ostentatious, but still looks a little charming. I think it suits her well. Hanako lowers the phone strap to the table and looks to me once more.
But it's not Christmas or my birthday.
It's fine, don't worry about it. I just thought it might be nice to have something to decorate your phone with.
I don't have anything to give to you.
I told you, it's fine. Friends could give things to each other like this sometimes, right?
Friends.
Hanako lowers her face so much that I can't see her expression. She eventually nods before taking her phone and fiddling with the strap to attach it properly. She looks to me and smiles as she holds up her phone, now adorned with a little flower. Aw.
Thank you, Hisao.
Her smile proves infectious. Oh god, it does. Out of the corner of my eye, I notice a couple getting up and leaving. That reminds me that the bus back to the town below Yamaku will be coming soon. I guess I'd better be going if I want to catch the next bus back to town. You coming as well?
Yes.
She hastily nods before carefully putting her phone back into her pocket and getting out of her chair. I do the same and pick up the bag I'd left beside me on the way out. We walk side by side as we make our way to the bus station, exchanging no words between us. Hanako's gaze is firmly locked ahead of her, though she looks very happy with herself. I'm not sure what I should say to her, but I'm also not sure that I need to say anything. The fact that Hanako is happy and happy because of me is enough to make the load on my arm feel light as a feather. And the end of another beautiful day with Hanako. My heart's beating wildly here, folks. I'm not lying. Finally reaching the classroom after the usual walk from the dormitories, I step inside. My eyes immediately turn to the third seat from the left in the back row. Hanako's seat. It's empty, and after glancing around the classroom, it looks like she isn't here yet. The two girls from the newspaper club are here in the two seats to the left of Hanako's, as are Shizune and Misha, but that's about it. We exchange morning greetings before I take my seat. I have to admit that this is a bit of a relief. This gives me at least a few more minutes to think. Not that I haven't been doing so previously. Ever since our trip to town, Hanako's been on my mind. I still don't know what to make of my relationship to Hanako. I like her. I can admit that much to myself. I want to protect and shield her from the pain she feels. I really don't think my feelings are just those of friendship anymore. But that said, I feel like I don't even know her. If I made a move on her, how would she take it? Is she in an emotional state that allows her to make a reasonable decision about a relationship? How would she cope with anything that might happen afterwards? There's also the possibility that I'm just completely misinterpreting Hanako. Not a difficult thing to do with someone whose social skills seem to be so underdeveloped. The sound of footsteps comes up to the door, making me perk up. It ends up just being Miki. She barely acknowledges my existence when I accidentally make eye contact with her. I'm about to look away, but another person comes in not long after she takes her seat. Hanako! I feel myself freeze as I see Hanako enter. This isn't a rational reaction, but I have no idea about how I should act or what I should say to her. For a moment, our eyes meet. And then, just as quickly, she looks away and moves to her seat without saying a single word. As is now usual for the period following classes, my face is buried deep in a book that I find thoroughly uninteresting. Ooh, excuse me. Studying is not something that comes naturally to me. I didn't study a lot before coming to Yamaku, and until now I've largely managed to coast through on talent. Alone. It's frustrating that I can't do that anymore. Judging by the faces of the other few students in the library, I don't think I'm alone in my distaste for this. Misery loves company, I suppose. I decided to spend lunchtime with Hanako, since we haven't had lunch together for a while now. I may as well have spent the time studying, though. Aside from pathetically small snippets of small talk, there was barely a word said between us. Why does she keep doing this to me? I just want to protect her, to be there for her, but every time I feel like we're coming closer, we end up further away.
Are you busy?
Hanako? My head whips around in surprise, causing her to retreat in fright. That was bad timing. If I hadn't been thinking about her at that very moment, I probably wouldn't have been nearly so startled. Sorry, you just startled me. I find myself staring at her longer than I should, so I go back to the text lying on the table in front of me. I feel more like I'm just staring at the words rather than actually reading. I get the feeling Hanako can notice this as well, so I sigh and close the book. What's up?
I was just wondering what you were reading.
She looks a little downcast after my reaction to seeing her. Giving up on the prospect of getting any more work done, I get up and return the book to its place on a nearby shelf. Just an English textbook.
Has it helped?
It helped me realize that I don't like English, yeah. Hanako gives a small giggle. I may muse on the strange state of our friendship, but I do know that such little gestures are things that I wouldn't see were I not at least some distance closer to her than when we first met. I look at her for a moment, thinking about what I do and don't know about her. It's a slightly depressing topic.
Is something wrong?
If I want to know more about her, maybe I should stop being so evasive about it. Talking with Lily as an equal rather than being constantly in fear of causing her to become upset worked fine, so I should just try a straightforward approach with Hanako as well. Hey, Hanako, do you mind if I ask you a question?
I don't mind.
I want to know what your life was like. Your life before coming to Yamaku. She hesitates. I briefly consider backing off, but she seems to be taking the question quite seriously. I sit and watch her, silently letting her take her time. She's not making eye contact with me, and it looks almost as if she's arguing with herself into letting herself open up to me more. Her answer finally comes in a stiff, almost reluctant nod. She looks far more tense than she did before I'd asked.
Okay. But in return, you have to tell me about your life as well.
I nod and follow her as she begins to walk out the library so we could talk. By now, most of the students have already left the main building, so apart from a few people hovering around club rooms, the hallways are largely empty. I guess we'll start with coming to Yamaku. Let's see. I was in the hospital when my parents first told me about Yamaku Academy. The doctors told me I shouldn't go to my old school anymore. My parents agreed and persuaded me to apply for Yamaku, even though it would mean living away from them for the first time.
It must have been hard for you.
Well, yeah, I have to admit that it was. My parents both work long hours and full-time, so having to live reasonably independently wasn't anything new to me. It was the fact that I was going to a school for disabled students that hit hardest, I think. And you? A small group of chatting girls passes us as we near the stairs, with Hanako pressing herself tightly to my side until we reach the ground floor. She doesn't usually come this close while just walking into school, so I'm left a little put off.
The staff at the orphanage offered me some options on what I could do. Middle school hadn't been good, so I thought that Yamaku might be better. It was isolated, and I thought it might be easier to get by here with most of the others being disabled.
It's pretty ironic that the reasons Hanako looked forward to Yamaku are the exact reasons I hated the idea. To me, it felt like I was being shunted somewhere away from society and everyone I knew, To Hanako, that was probably an inviting prospect. What was life like at the orphanage?
It was okay. The staff there were nice, and they took care of us. The children there didn't talk to me much, but I didn't really want to talk with them either, so I didn't mind. The orphanage had a little library, so I started to read to pass the time. The staff didn't mind it because it made me easier to handle than many of the other children.
You didn't make any friends there?
No. I think my life was on hold during that time. I knew that, but I didn't mind.
To think her life was on hold for all that time, though, depending on when the fire happened, that was a huge chunk of her life. No parents, no friends, apparently no relatives. We walked through the door into the courtyard. I expect to need to avert my eyes from the sun, but by now it's well into sunset. Hanako's eyes keep flicking to me, so I look away from her for a bit.
What was it like in the hospital?
I quickly clear my thoughts and try to refocus them. I hesitate for a bit, but I know that I have to tell her. We're close enough for her to feel comfortable telling me this, so it's only fair that I reciprocate. It was okay at times, but at others it was pretty bad. At the beginning, everyone sent their sympathies and came to visit often. It was just like breaking an arm or something. Meeting all my friends was one of the good times. Iwanako came in often as well, more often than anyone else. But there were bad times too. When my friends slowly stopped visiting, I began to realize how grave my situation was. It reminded me that this wasn't just a broken limb, but that I was now a different person than before. Even the times Iwanako would spend with me became torturous. By the end, we were reduced to silence, whereas before she'd be talking constantly. But that's how Iwanako always was. She may have been a fragile person, but she would talk constantly to try and hide that fact. Not about anything in particular, just talk. I think the three lowest points would have been when my parents told me I wouldn't be going to my old school anymore, my birthday passing while in the hospital, and when Iwanako left for the last time. We leave the school buildings behind us as we begin to follow the main path through the gardens. There may have been the odd bystander in the school buildings, but outside we're practically alone.
What was your middle school like?
I liked it. I grew up in a really metropolitan area, and the middle school was nearby, so it was pretty crowded. I didn't mind it, probably because I'm used to being in crowds and around lots of other people. I got good marks, and I played soccer with my friends. I spent a fair bit of time hanging out with them after school as well. Did get teased a bit over my hair, though.
Your hair?
I grimace a little as I put a hand over my hair to cover it. I'd keep getting tufts and strands that refused to flatten or stay where I wanted them, and my mother wouldn't let me just get my hair shaved. It had a habit of popping out no matter how much I tried to brush it down.
It still does, a little.
I was worried I'd get that reply.
So sorry, I didn't mean to.
I give a mild laugh and wave it off. It's fine, I know it still does. It feels strange to have someone act so interested in my past. If it were anyone else, I'd think they were just acting polite. But that's something I really don't think Hanako would do. Or if she did, she'd do it so badly that it would be obvious. There are a number of girls in the common room on the ground floor, and Hanako presses herself to my side once more as we pass them. I expect her to break off, but instead she continues to cling on to me as we walk towards the stairway. Something about the way she's holding on to me feels different from the usual. I'm left deep in thought as we walk up the stairs and down the hallway. It's only when we stop that I look up and realize that I've been following her without question. Why did we come to your dormitory room? She looks straight at the door, without so much as a glance in my direction. Hanako? She moves to answer, but stops herself. Instead, she silently breaks from my side, opens her door, and steps inside. I look up and down the hallway, a bit lost as to exactly what I should do. Shrugging, I decide to follow her since I don't have any reason to do otherwise. Hanako stands in the middle of her room and looks straight at me. It's unnerving when she does this, as it's such an unusual reaction for her. I open my mouth to speak, but she preempts me.
Could you close and lock the door?
Hanako's hand reaches for her chest, grabbing her blouse at her heart. I turn and lock the door shut, then freeze. The atmosphere is beginning to feel quite strange. This feeling is only made more profound when I hear the curtains being pulled behind me. Well, guys, I'm sure you know what's going to happen next. I don't think I even have to say it. It's going to be night soon. We're a guy and a girl in a bedroom. She's closing the curtains and I'm shutting and locking the door. She can't really have that in mind, can she? I gulp and turn around very, very slowly. Hanako is in the center of the room, but hasn't turned back to face me.
You told me about your past, so I have to tell you mine.
She takes a deep, shuddering breath and pauses for a number of seconds. Her hands move to her ribbon and begin to tug, all but confirming my thoughts.
Hanako? Please, don't say anything.
I obediently stay hushed as she slips off her ribbon and continues to unbutton her blouse, before working the clip on her bra. The process is slow. Perhaps it just feels slow because of what she's doing. I'm not sure. Frozen to the spot, all I could do is watch as Hanako, hands trembling, unclips her skirt and lets it drop to the ground. Finally, she takes her blouse in her hands and draws it off, her bra falling from her shoulders. And so, Hanako stands in the middle of the room all but bared, save for her stockings and underwear.
This is me. All of me.
My eyes are immediately drawn to the scarring on her back. The skin on her right side is of a similar texture to that of her face, but it's also stretched taut and covering a much larger area. The scarring is by far the worst on the shoulder, buttock, and thigh. Just as my heart attack redefined my life, this is the event that redefined Hanako's. Man. If I'd seen this when I first met her, I'd have been shocked. Not only at the sight, but also at the idea that something like this was survivable. But after having had time to get used to the idea, and after seeing the scars on her face, hands, and collar, my reaction is more measured. My reaction right now is not due to her scarring, but to her body.
The fire happened when I was 8 years old. It was night, and we were sleeping when it started.
Hanako's voice trembles, the shaking of her blouse giving away the fact that her hands are doing just the same.
I curled up into a ball when the fire swept over me. My mother tried to shield me. That's the only reason I lived.
Hanako's eyes begin to moisten, her voice cracking under the combined pressure of exposing herself to me like this, and reliving those painful memories from so long ago. I want to say something, anything to make her feel better. I can't, though. I feel completely useless when faced with a situation like this. She's forcing herself to come so close, yet it's at times like this that I feel most distant to her.
I'm sorry for making you see this.
There's no point in denying the obvious. I think what I should say now and what Hanako wants me to say now is the truth. What I genuinely, honestly believe. It doesn't matter. You're a wonderful person, Hanako. Your body doesn't change that. She looks at me for a long time, her breathing uneven as she tries to remain steady amidst the emotions we're both feeling. It feels less like she's looking at me than she's looking through me. I slowly walk towards her and gently place my hands on her shoulders as she lets go of her blouse. She gasps a little, not in fright, but in simple startlement. Being so close to her causes my mind to become a jumble of feelings. The scarring on her shoulder, plain to see and leather-like to the touch, conflicts strangely with her otherwise soft skin and silky dark hair. Hanako is a girl with all that entails. She's taller than usual for a woman, but still has curves in all the right places. The nape of her neck, just visible thanks to her hair slung over her shoulder, is alluring.
I know that I'm not pretty, like Lily. I just wanted you to see me. The real me.
I've already seen the real you, though. You didn't need to take off your clothes for that. And the editing will be kicking in here. Her lips are open, just a little. She lets out a sharp breath as, without thinking, I breathlessly lean forwards and press my lips to hers. The kiss only lasts for a fleeting moment before our faces part, our breathing quick and nervous. The feeling of Hanako's mouth lingers, and her eyes remain locked to mine. Trembling a little myself, I remove my tie and begin undoing the buttons of my shirt. Hanako remains standing where she is, looking at the ground in front of her rather than watching me undress. On the one hand, I'm thankful for that. I've always been somewhat self-conscious of my body, but my scarring has made that quite a lot worse. On the other, though, this atmosphere feels very strange. My shirt falls to the floor in a heap, as untidy and crumpled as Hanako's blouse and skirt. Hanako's entire body visibly flinches at the sound of the zipper on my trousers being pulled down. My trousers join my shirt on Hanako's floor next to the bed, as do my socks in short measure. I hesitate before taking off my boxers and end up leaving them on. They represent one last hurdle I don't think I can overcome quite yet. Sheer embarrassment stops me, along with not wanting Hanako getting even more worked up. My unease about the situation has also left me needing my own stimulation. Hanako. She gives a nod without so much as glancing at me and makes her way to the bed as I do. She walks as if her legs were wooden sticks. I'd find it amusing if I weren't doing exactly the same thing. I take the initiative, turning around and sitting on the side of the bed. I look to her face to invite her to take a seat either next to me or in front of me, but end up awkwardly looking down to stop myself from staring at her body. Alrighty, folks, I think I'm gonna cut it off here. Yeah, heavy-duty editing coming up for the next part, for obvious reasons. Anyways, folks, stay tuned for Let's Play Katawa Shoujo Part 23, when Hisao and Hanako truly embrace each other. That's about all I can really say there. Anyways, see you then, folks.